Hi, my name is Maggie Colangelo. I'm a Communication Arts and Environmental Studies student here at VCU. The following presentation covers the research presented in a comic book that I created working with Dr. Means. The comic will be published online on the Virtual Curation Lab's website by the end of April, so I hope you'll check it out then. Thanks! America's Founding Monsters by Maggie Colangelo and Dr. Bernard Means. Fossils have always existed in North America. They were known to Native Americans and figured in some of their stories and legends. Fossils of Ice Age mammals were first found by Europeans in the early days of colonization. Through farmers and land development, several fossils of Ice Age mammals were found. With no previous exposure to species like the mammoth, mastodon, and giant ground sloth, the fossils were attributed to biblical giants and treated as oddities. Years before the American Revolution, the French scholar Georges-Louis Leclerc de Buffon wrote an extensive natural history of the world. In his work, he argued that the Americas had only recently risen from the sea, which made it too swampy and humid for any large animals to grow. He stated that no American animal could compare to the size of creatures like the African lion, elephant, and hippopotamus. This theory applied to people and crops, too. Buffon's theory stated that anyone who lived in America would become weaker and smaller. Worry spread across Europe that emigrating to America would cause loss of virility, and their children and crops would become weak as well. Several founding fathers worked to counter de Buffon's claims. Thomas Jefferson labored to send a stuffed moose to France to demonstrate to de Buffon that large animals inhabited the Americas. But living animals, or stuffed versions of existing animals, were not seen as sufficient evidence to successfully challenge Buffon. Fortunately, the bones of large animals with great claws, giant limb bones, massive tusks, and jagged teeth were being continuously discovered across the Americas, especially at that time in Kentucky, New York, Virginia, and West Virginia. In 1801, artist Charles Wilson Peale traveled to New York to purchase mastodon bones found 2 years earlier, as well as the right to excavate more bones. As part of America's first scientific investigation, he developed an ingenious pumping system consisting of a human-powered wooden wheel designed to move water from his excavation areas, famously portrayed in his 1806 to 1808 painting Exhumation of the Mastodon. The mastodon skeleton was reconstructed by Rembrandt Peale, son of Charles Wilson Peale, their enslaved servant Moses Williams, and famed sculptor William Rush. Rush carved mastodon bone replicas out of wood to complete the skeleton, using bones from other mastodon skeletons for reference. When the mastodon was put on display in Peale's household museum, it was so popular it sparked a mammoth mania and doubled the museum's revenue. Our project combines sequential art with historical data. The comic will tie together art, science, and history, encouraging collaboration between students with different interests. This STEAM-friendly approach is for an audience of K-12 students and aims to catch children's interest through an engaging and humorous story. This project will increase scientific literacy through building on students' existing familiarity with the Founding Fathers. The final product will be a digital comic book with active links and will also be suitable for printing and hard copy. The intended purpose of this comic is as an educational tool. Virtual or hard copies of the comic can be distributed to schools along with 3D printed replicas of the fossils presented in the narrative. Digital formatting allows for wide distribution at low cost to educators and allows students to take the materials home with them. The 3D printed replicas provided to classrooms will facilitate object-based learning. Object-based learning is integral for all students, but especially for those with learning challenges, such as the visually impaired. By appealing to multiple learning types, the comic and its supplemental materials aim to provide the best possible experience for students. Thank you for attending our Founding Monsters presentation. I hope you found it as interesting as I do. Have a great day.